The campus library was always hushed, a world of whispers and pages turning, but to Leah, it was her favorite refuge. She loved the way sunlight spilled through the tall windows, turning the dust into tiny golden sparks. She loved how the world outside seemed to blur away when she was surrounded by books. Most students came there to cram before exams or chat quietly in corners. But Leah came because she felt at home among words. She didn't notice the stares she drew, or rather, she pretended not to. With her long hair falling across her shoulder and her eyes lost in stories, she seemed unreachable, as though she belonged to another realm. But to Ethan, she was not unreachable. She was the center of everything. From the very first day of college, when he had seen her walk into class with her books hugged to her chest, he had felt something shift inside him. It wasn't infatuation, it was reverence. She wasn't the loudest, nor the one dressed to impress, but her calm dignity, her quiet smile, made her unforgettable. Every day after lectures, Ethan found himself drifting to the library, not for the books, but for her. He would sit across the room, pretending to study, but really watching the way her fingers carefully underlined passages, the way she tilted her head when thinking deeply, the way her lips curved when a line amused her. It took him weeks to gather courage to speak. One evening, as the rain tapped against the windows, Leah was immersed in a thick novel. She didn't notice when Ethan slipped a red rose between the pages of her book as he walked past. It was only when she turned a page later, her brows arched in surprise. Tucked inside the petals was a folded note. To me, you are not just a chapter, you are the whole story. Leah's heart skipped. She looked round, and her eyes landed on Ethan, who sat 2 tables away, pretending to be lost in his notes. Though his hands trembled slightly, their eyes met, and for the first time, she really saw him. The sincerity in his gaze, the softness, the way he wasn't asking for attention, but offering devotion. She smiled, a small, gentle smile that told him she had understood. From that day, the library became more than just a place of books. It became their world. They didn't always talk. Sometimes they sat in silence, side by side, turning pages. Other times, they whispered about favorite stories, about life, about dreams. The rain outside became their secret soundtrack, the wooden tables their meeting ground. One afternoon, Leah asked softly, "Why me, Ethan? There are so many girls here." Louder, prettier, more noticeable. He leaned closer, his voice steady but tender. "Because you're you, Leah. You don't need to be louder or prettier. You are already everything I was searching for. You make silence beautiful. You make time precious." Her cheeks warmed. She had been admired before, but always in shallow ways. This was different. This was deeper, as though he had read every page of her soul and still wanted more. Their bond grew. When exams approached, Ethan would slide her little notes with encouraging words. When she skipped lunch to study, Leah would share half of her sandwich with him. Sometimes, when their hands brushed as they exchanged books, both pretended not to notice, though their hearts knew better. One evening, the library was almost empty. The rain poured heavily, thunder echoing through the sky. Leah shivered slightly as the wind rushed in through a half-open window. Ethan noticed. Without a word, he draped his jacket around her shoulders. She looked up at him, her eyes wide, soft, shining. "Thank you," she whispered. He smiled, brushing a damp strand of hair from her face. "Every time you thank me, it feels like you don't know. I'd give you the whole world if I could." Her breath caught. For a moment, the books, the rain, the world, all disappeared. There was only him, only the warmth of his jacket, the steady beat of his heart as he leaned closer. and the knowledge that she was no longer unseen. She was cherished. Their foreheads touched, a quiet promise that needed no words. The storm raged outside, but inside, a gentler storm of longing, tenderness, and unspoken vows had already been born. From then on, the library was no longer just a building. It was their story of glances, roses, jackets, whispers, and the love that bloomed not in noise but in stillness. And years later, when Leah looked back, she realized it wasn't the rose or the note that had changed her life. It was the way Ethan had treated her, not as someone ordinary, but as someone precious. In Sakhi Soul Stories, love is not about how loudly it begins, but how tenderly it grows. Every woman deserves to be seen, not just admired, to be cherished, not just noticed. And when love arrives with sincerity, patience, and care, it becomes a story that lasts forever.